An illusion it will be. So large, so vast, it will escape their perception. Those who will see it will be thought of as insane. We will create separate fronts to prevent them from seeing the connection between us. We will behave as if we are not connected, to keep the illusion alive. Our goal will be accomplished one drop at a time, so as to never bring suspicion upon ourselves. This will also prevent them from seeing the changes as they occur. We will always stand above the relative field of their experience, for we know the secrets of the Absolute. We will work together always, and will remain bound by blood and secrecy. Death will come to he who speaks. We will keep their lifespan short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways, so they will never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators and sedatives in food and water, also in the air. They will be blanketed by poisons everywhere they turn. The soft metals will cause them to lose their minds. We will promise to find a cure from our many fronts, yet we will feed them more poison.
Welcome everyone to the Best Damn Podcast. I'm your host, John Keane. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. Ask that you please add, follow, and check us out, www.spreaker.com/user/Best Damn Podcast. Also, check us out on YouTube, DLive, and subscribe, and Twitter, The Real Best Damn, Instagram, Best Damn Podcast. Make sure to like, share, get this out there the way other people can see it. Leave a comment, let me know what you think, and support, donate. Links are in the description, and you can join us tomorrow night for the Best Damn Fam Live. I finally got my Discord back, so we'll be actually doing it live if you haven't checked it out. Man, you take a break, and so much stuff seems to be happening. It's absolutely insane. When I look around the world right now, one thing I see is that people are buying into the storyline more than they ever have before. So tonight we're gonna show quite a few things. We're gonna look at quite a bit tonight. Pertaining to a lot of the things that are going on Earth as a whole, and it just, to me, and the reason I even titled it this is like it feels like humanity has hit like the self-destruct button when we face all of these different challenges, we'll say, right? We got these challenges of this totalitarianism that's literally got everybody by the neck right now. They're taking people's jobs. They're flat out firing them. They're calling it, unpaid leave. That means you were fired, aka you were fired for not going along with the agenda. They're preventing them from entering, mostly places of respite that would give them some form of gratification, places that we've grown accustomed to, restaurants, bars, movie theaters, so on and so forth, and even cranking it up a notch to where now there's talk of, denying medical treatment and just all of these things. And it's like, you would think when what you would call darkness or evil has got humanity by the balls, so to speak, this would be that one time where people would would really get their shit together, they would come together. They would be like, okay, yo, this is real. We're facing like a real challenge. We need to stop, bickering and arguing over the petty stuff of, political lines, our race, our color, our sexual orientation, our religion, all of these different, they're all, factors to divide. This is divide and conquer, and it's worked very, very effectively. So you would think like this would be the time where we would all overcome all that. Or we'd say, okay, enough of this bullshit. We see through it all. We're going to come together and we're going to make enough noise to make you stop this agenda, to make you listen. If you don't, well, we'll do things a brand new way that doesn't include your power structure. But instead, it's had the opposite effect, I think. Everybody has been driven by fear, panic. I see different things, and most of it's lies, I just want to tell you. And half of what I'm going to show you tonight is going to be just showing it in a way so you can see that it's lies. Down to protests, gas shortages, supply shortages, all these bullshit reasons to bring in National Guard deployments. And you guys can probably remember, I think the last time I made a video a week or so ago, I was talking about how they were bringing in the military in Northern Ireland and Scotland. And like you was going to see this on a global scale. Why? Because the one world system is already in place. The New World Order is already here. It's always been talked about as this fictional thing, like, when it comes or, if it comes, well, you've had evidence now for the last couple of years that it's already here, right? When it all began with the C-19 shit, when they got their cue, from Atlas C-19 as well, and we've seen all of the different documents from the Marines.mil, Manpower Guidance Act, and Stafford Disaster Act, Executive Order 13603, National Defense from 1997. All these different things, they were letting you know what the intentions were. Anybody that mentioned these things or talked about these things or tried to give you a heads up on these things was called, conspiratorial. And that was a form of neuro-linguistic programming. They attached a negative connotation to the word to make you think that anything that was conspiracy was just, flat out crazy. That way you would do the most damaging thing to a person, which is to dismiss them, right? When you dismiss a person as crazy, psychotic, whatever, delusional, it's the most damaging thing you can do to them because you're not even willing to disagree. You're not even willing to listen. You're not even willing to argue. You're just saying, no, you're not even worthy of me hearing what you have to say because you're crazy. So I dismiss it. So we've seen a surge over the last couple of years. And I've even seen, and which kind of disturbs me, just to be honest, I've seen a couple of other truthers. I'll use my finger quotes for that. Truthers, that have kind of, like, they feel good about things, like, because, oh, I told you so kind of thing, which is ego. Most definitely, it's ego. Oh, I told you so. I got vindication. Now everything I said has come to pass, so look how smart I was and look how stupid you are. And that's probably the opposite thing we should be doing. We see now that all of this stuff is affecting healthcare, police, military. The last time I did a video, I even showed how they rejected a bill that would actually ban people or ban dishonorable discharge from the military for rejecting the jab. That right there told you their intentions. That right there told you their intentions. When they banned or when they rejected a bill that would ban them from dishonorably discharging a person for not wanting to go along with this, that told you where they were going with this. We have since seen protests everywhere, most of which are not organic. It was just like when we looked at, George Floyd and, oh gosh, I could go on and on from, Las Vegas to just all these different things and events that I've covered over the years that never are what they appear to be. right? They never are what they appear to be. And people, for some reason or another, can't fathom that the intelligence services, these alphabet agencies would engineer these things to make you, see the world with a certain, point of view, a certain perception. They're shaping your perception. They're controlling your perception because they're controlling your mind. We see right here off the bat, and we're going to talk about quite a few things. We're going to look at, Planet X, magnetic reversal, the protest. We're going to look at quite a few things. I'm going to be a little bit all over the place because I haven't done a video for a little bit, so I wanted to cover a few different things and just show a few different things. But man, the time for, and I truly am starting to come to this conclusion. People say, oh, well, we got to wake more people up. One thing, you can't wake somebody else up. That's got to be a personal choice, I believe. Just like it was for you, just like it was for me, where you decide that you want to seek the truth, where you decide that you want to know yourself and know who you are, or know God, or whatever drives you, right? Where you come from. There's all different, factors that drive people, that leads them to an awakening, or, spiritual awareness. So we can't make anybody do anything. We see that people have one of two reactions, though, when it comes to all of this stuff. The more intensified the agenda becomes, the more closed in the box gets. They either capitulate more and they're willing to give away everything, right? They say, okay, I don't care. I don't need privacy. I don't need any rights. You can have my children. You can have my body. You can have my mind. You can have my soul, right? It's driven by fear, anger, hatred, loss, whatever, right? It's negativity, it's darkness that drives them, and it makes them totally roll over and go along with whatever, right? I got to murder somebody? Fine. Okay. As long as it is not me, right? Because this is a self-serving attitude that they have. And that's why it becomes about being selfless. We talk about all the time, thy will be done, or do what thou wilt, right? Like, serve yourself or serve others. And this is always is what it's going to boil down to at the end of the day. And then you got the other people. They may not have come along in the very beginning. They may not have been doing this for years. It may not be teaching other people about a lot of these things like most of you that watch these kind of videos do. You guys are, probably very advanced in your learning of what you've learned and what you know, even though we all truly know nothing at the end of the day and we don't have all the answers. Still, some of us has been seeking more than others in these particular areas, especially. So you got those kind of people, and you got the people that once it affects them, then they start to believe. Then they start to see. And that's what I'm seeing over the last year or two. When all of the shit, began with the pandemic and all of this, we had our first batch of people that were, maybe it was out of fear, maybe it was because they were being affected, who knows, but they seen the boat being rocked enough, they knew something was off, and all those crazy cousins and friends and, spouses that they have that talk about these things, it started to make sense, and they put it two and two together, and they started coming out in droves. Well, now I see a whole new batch of people doing the same thing, but it's for a whole new reason. It's because they're starting to be affected very, very much on a personal level. They're losing their job, right? They're being pushed out of the military, pushed out of the police force, pushed out of healthcare. They see shortages in petroleum or petrol and food in certain countries. They see the actions of the military. So now it's at their doorstep and they're willing to listen. It doesn't matter what the reason is, what's the why. The fact is, there's those that will listen and those that won't. We can't force it on nobody. We can't make nobody see. And some people, I truly believe, don't have the capacity to see. Maybe there's nothing left inside. Maybe they've They've sold, proverbially, to this world everything that was them, right? By compromising themselves, their morals, their beliefs, right? Just day to day. The Faustian bargain. I believe you can sell your soul in a variety of ways. So, I think the best thing we can do is to lead by example, is to back up everything that we do say, whether we use, and you can't be one-dimensional with this stuff either, because that's what ascension really is, right? Is transcending the physical, the linear, and being able to not only see, but, kind of comprehend and express multiple facets, multiple aspects, multiple dimensions of this reality. You're no longer 1D, 2D, 3D. You're going beyond the 4 and the 5D, right? You can see how it works in the heavens. You can see how it works out in the physical and the political. You can see how it works at a biological level, in your brain, in your soul. You can, in a collective, you can see how it works in multiple ways. So let's start here, and that's why I like to show multiple things, because I think that that's the only way that people will ever truly understand that this is everything that we see around us, whether it be the news, which is purely fabricated, or whether it be religious text, scientific discovery, historical accounts, whatever it is. Everything around us is a projection of us, right? We imprint consciously on everything that we create. We are creators, little baby gods, if you will, right? The sons of God, the children of the Most High, however you want to call it, right? We're a piece of the source, and we do create. So everything around us has a part of the story. It has a part of us in it. We project it. That's why the only way out of all of this is to go within yourself and to truly know who you are, to truly face, your weaknesses, your defects, your darkness, and transmute or overcome that and change it into something positive to help others and to serve other people. So it says, breaking: New York governor, we're deploying the National Guard. This, to me, humanity hitting the self-destruct button. This is it. We are watching what I believe is one of the final phases of all of this, where this has become, and when we look at what was the KGB spy, Yuri Bezmenov, that came out and talked about it, the demoralization, normalization, crisis, all these different steps of toppling a civilization, or a nation. And they do it through their culture, right? That's why the media is such an instrumental tool in all of this. Let me make sure you guys have sound here.
Signing an executive order to give me the emergency powers necessary to address the shortages where they occur. That's going to allow me to deploy the National Guard, who are medically trained, deploy people who've been retired, who may have had a license lapse, bring in people from elsewhere.
And when we were looking at, what was it, Bill 4216 or A1642, right? The bill that was saying that eventually this was going to lead up to people could be retained or detained by being a threat to public health. I think they are trying to reach a point to where they've got 90% of the people to capitulate before the wheels fall off of all of this. And I think they're getting really, really close to this. And the military deployment is one of the final steps in all of this, guys. Whenever you're creating a police state, and if you watch what's happened in America, it's been a slow burn, right? The frog in the pot of water. They've been turning it up really, really slowly, but it's been very effective from the 30,000 National Guard troops to razor wire around the Capitol in D.C. to all 50 states having the Guard deployed, to Operation Legend and the deployment of federal agents to all 50 states, to now you see there's different mandates and requirements, which we talked about this when we look at the 7 seals, right? This is it. It tells you exactly what would happen, right? It says, the third living creature come, the one who wrote it, had a balance scale in his hand. And I heard something like a voice from among the 4 living creatures saying, a quart of wheat will cost a day's pay, and 3 quarts of barley will cost a day's pay, but do not damage the olive oil and the wine. And that's very cryptic to some. But some of you know exactly what it's talking about because we've shown this before. The black horse, the one who wrote it, holding a balance scale, which is a coupling, right? It's to couple you. It's to lock you into what? Servitude, law, or obligation. The beam of balance, or the connection to the scales, right? So they are coupling you into servitude through law or obligation. This is what you're watching happen now. These people are becoming slaves. They're being coupled into servitude, right? They're being chained to servitude, to the system, the beast system, through these laws and obligations. And these are all these mandates. These are all these bills. These are all these things that you're seeing passed right before your eyes. And when it talks about, I heard among the voice the 4 living creatures saying, a quart of wheat will cost a day's pay, 3 quarts of barley will cost a day's pay. Do not damage olive oil and the wine. This is hyperinflation. This is the supply shortages. And like I said, those type of things are starting to begin in various places. It's not worldwide or mass spread, or you need to run out and panic buy at the grocery store or anything like that yet. Even though I do suggest that people, be prepared, right? Be prepared. And you think about it too, whenever you look at the different lists of, the enemies of the state, basically, those who they consider under the branch of domestic terrorists, preppers fall under that. I don't know if some of you know that or not, but preppers fall under that. It's anybody that's anti-abortion, anti-immigration, preppers, people that it would call religious extremists, Tea Party, any libertarian, anybody like that, they fall under that branch of domestic terrorists, which they've now created and implemented different ways to go and attack those people, right? Which the anti-jab is another one of those people that fall under the domestic terrorists. Right, so this is what they're doing. This is what they're putting together. This is where we're at with all of this. And I've shown in previous videos, and I'm not going to go through it all tonight because, frankly, I just don't want to. I've done too many videos on it. But we've shown, the C-19 and all of that. That was the first horse riding out. And the Abraham Accord with the sword on the coin and all of that was the second horse. And we see the killing and all of this happening, all across the world right now. And it even says to kill 1/4 of the Earth population. Well, what do you think is happening through the agenda right now? Right, they're killing 1/4 of the world's population. See, to kill its population with the sword, famine, and disease. Disease doesn't mean disease as in what you think. Disease just means death in the Bible. So, and that's what comes next. When I heard the voice of the Lamb, it opened the 4th seal, and I heard the voice of the 4 living creatures saying, "Come." So I looked, and here came a pale green horse. And think about it. There's your green, right? Greenish, verdant, or dun-colored. Apparently a primary word, green or pale. Well, think about it. You have your green passports, right? This green agenda, right, that's going on. This is all part of this. Green means basically compliance, right? That's what green means. And even down to, and I seen them telegraphing this way in the beginning of all of this with the chloroquine, right? Chloros equine, right? Meaning green horse, right? Or pale green horse. Like they were telegraphing all of this stuff and people were just missing it. They wasn't awake to all of the things that were happening. They're being told by the churches that tribulation hasn't started, which tribulation is just a trial or a test, and that apocalypse hasn't begun, which apocalypse just means to reveal, and all things are being revealed. And, you know, they believe that there's going to be some type of rapture before any of this can take place, when you can't find none of that actually in the Bible to tell you any of those things are going to happen before anything bad takes place. Matter of fact, it says the opposite if you look at the words of Christ, right? It says they did not love their lives so much that they were afraid to die, right? And he who endures to the end will be saved. So you're seeing things that are completely contradictory to what the church is saying, right? Completely contradictory to the church is saying, but we're seeing this happening in real time. In real time.
Signing an executive order to give me the emergency powers necessary to address the shortages where they occur. That's going to allow me to deploy the National Guard, who are medically trained, deploy people who've been retired, who may have had a license lapse, bring in people from elsewhere.
Yeah, bring in people from elsewhere. I wonder where from elsewhere means, you know? How many people are seeing the writing on the wall when it comes to all of this? Probably not many. You can see right here, like the protests, and I like showing this kind of stuff. I can't say a whole lot because I'm broadcasting from too many platforms right now, and a lot of them just don't let you say certain things. But I mean, look right here. You see in Australia, they're rallying you up, man. They're getting you all gassed up because they want you to protest on their terms. This is just like with George Floyd and the bricks being laid out in the streets and all of that shit, right? The fires being set, or you see the Antifa agitators and all of that, or what happened at the Capitol when they come out saying, "Oh, I was paid to do this," or you guys can, if you have checked out the band playlist, I have a complete video showing, you know, the entire construction of what happened at the Capitol, and there's no denying it after you watch that episode. There's no denying it. Matter of fact, I just posted on Patreon today all the new limited access links to Spreaker, as well as updated band playlist and a new Dropbox with all the videos and stuff from the private shows. But you can see this is the same playbook. It's Five Eyes, right? It's rolling out everywhere. Look, got your Antifa looking dude hanging out with the police. And what's he doing? Heading for the protest. See, it's engineered. There's nothing organic about what you're seeing. Nothing organic about what you're seeing. Take it a step further here. Right here. Australian pigs shooting at peaceful protesters. See, this is them controlling the flow of your anger and your fear, right, to use it against you. Because they want to make those that are resistant to the agenda seem aggressive, seem violent, so it justifies their actions in the future and allows them to take the steps necessary to, to be able to take those actions.
They're throwing stuff now, and okay, they're shooting. They're now shooting. They're now shooting people. You can hear the, oh my god!
Does that look like people are being shot? I just want to point this out. Just kind of take a stroll back here. See, look at this. Look at dude just kicking it right here. He's like, he almost looks bored with the whole shit. Watch.
Oh my god! They're just shooting at everyone now. Bullets are going flying through the place, and you can still see through here the There are kids here. This is an absolute disgrace to the Shrine of Remembrance that...
And you can see, look, they got cameramen and shit in perfect positions. The cops walking very, very calmly in a nice orderly line while everybody kind of just waits around even though they're supposedly shooting them. Right? They're all just hanging out, waiting for this perfect moment. The guy is going through the crowd. He's going in the opposite direction as everybody. Nobody's actually running and hauling ass, even though they're supposedly being shot at. Right? They're just kind of, moving right along. This is what I'm talking about. This is the fabrication of the reality. This is how they get you to go along with this shit.
They've come here and they're taking it over and causing violence and disruption to peaceful protesters that are here on this property, on this land, because...
See? Do you see the fucking camera guy? The camera guy's gonna be standing right in the middle of them shooting at one another? Come the fuck on, man.
Resembles the Anzacs that fought for our country and our freedoms. And now we're doing the same by trying to fight for our freedoms. They're shooting again!
That's not any type of gas, or these people would be throwing up, falling over, and fucked up. This is a smoke bomb.
They're going through the trees and everything. All the bullets you can hear, like just flying through the trees, and the whizzing sound of it going through the air. And you can see.
Do you see everybody? Everybody that's being shot at is turned the fuck around with cameras in their hands. I don't know about you. I'm just saying, maybe I don't have the survival instincts of Australians or something. That's a possibility, right? But, I mean, they're pretty rough people out there, right down under. But I'm just saying, these people's survival instincts are just shit. I mean, look at them. They're all turned around with cameras and camera phones, and you got cameramen. Look, he's even going right past one of the quote-unquote cops that don't have badges on their arms or anything like that either.
Absolutely mental.
Everybody's turned around looking at them as they shoot at them. Oh, God. So, yeah. That's what they do. And they do it with more than just one thing. This is a hospital. Emergency room in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Hey guys, it's 12:41 here on the 29th. I'm at Spartanburg ER. They got this tent set up here. Looks like it's been here for a little while.
And I'm going to mute it just in case he says some words that don't need to be said, because it doesn't matter what the fuck he says. It matters what you're seeing. It matters what you're seeing. Right now, and I was watching Sky News or some shit. I don't know. It gets pushed through the algorithms. I wasn't purposely watching it. But they were literally at, I forget what state they were at, but they're talking about, hospitals overcrowded, them putting up the tents once again. It's the same shit over and over and over. It's like they recycle the same tricks, but people don't catch on the first time, so why would they change the game plan? Look at that. One chick in the ER with like a busted nose or something. Yeah. See what I'm saying? Perception is reality. And if they're shaping your perception, they're shaping your reality. And see, and this is a projection of who we are too. So you got to understand as a whole, like as a collective, we are one big hollow lie. We're living a lie. That's why it's coming out in our media. That's why the masses buy into it, right? They hate the truth, so I'll send them a strong delusion, causing them to believe the lie. So I wholeheartedly believe that the reason that these things work, on a massive scale is because that's what we've become, right? Like as humanity, that's what we become. We become disingenuine, right? Look around you. I mean, you could go back a few years ago and you could watch YouTube, and it was like real people on there, and they were, they were catching real shit happening, and it was great at times, right? You could really get some good information. You could learn about some things, but it was still few and far between compared to the norm. If you don't have high production value, you don't have flashy graphics and cool music and a handsome person with a great voice, speaking to the people, people don't want to see it. They don't want to hear it. They're so conditioned by the television, radio, and all the different forms of media that they want flashy. They want fake, right? They want that because that's what they're used to. Otherwise, it's just, to them, real is ugly, right? Real is ugly because that's what they've been conditioned to think, that they themselves are not good enough the way they are. That's why they have to dress to whatever fashion or behave to whatever concept of behavior is acceptable at the time, which, speaking of, they're now going to switch that up on you guys too, which I knew was coming. I knew this was coming. I just didn't know when, and it was actually kind of surprising to see that it's happening now. You've seen first how they attacked the conservative mindset, right? Like, okay, if you have this mindset, you're a domestic terrorist, and they use the whole controlled opposition movement through Trump to do that, right? And basically demonize people with those type of values or those type of opinions. Well, now look. And remember, that same guy, that Yuri Bezmenov, said that once they had basically accomplished their goals, they would then turn on the very nihilist and atheist and all of those groups, what we would call the liberal left, that would help them accomplish them goals. Right here from the Atlantic. The experts somehow overlooked authoritarians on the left. Many psychologists wrongly assumed that coercive attitudes exist only among conservatives. This is the beginning. This is the beginning. And I've told you guys, man, like, people, and see, it's like this bully fucking mentality. It's really crazy, and it works all the way around. Look, nobody needs to forget these things, too. You guys remember the TikTok videos of all the nurses and shit dancing as they're forcing the agenda down your neck, down my neck, and our children, right? As they're murdering all of us. They're dancing on fucking TikTok, and they're talking about how important it is, and they're lying and murdering and killing as they're being paid, these fucking outrageous amounts of money to travel and go kill in different places. Well, now all of a sudden it's at their front door. Now it's an injustice. You see how that works? Now all of a sudden, that same military that was used to topple governments and starve people and kill people, now they're going to be pushed out in the cold if they don't go along with it. And it's an injustice. Do you see that? The same cops who profile people and beat people's ass and kill people for no reason and harass and run the score up with charges and know that they're putting them into an unfair judicial system. All of a sudden, now there's an injustice, right? They're forcing them out for the agenda. It's an injustice now that it's hit their front door. And now you have this. The same thing that's been used to poison culture, compromise morals, and demonize one whole side and create the whole cancel culture and censorship and political correctness. Oh, shit. Now all of a sudden they were overlooked, and it's going to be on their front door. Do you think that will be an injustice as well? I do. Do you see how this works and how it doesn't become a problem for people that serve themselves until it affects themselves, right? So the selfless person that probably, I would assume a lot of you are, right, that you were screaming about these things before it ever hit your front door. as you've seen it hit others, as you even just knew it was coming, you screamed about it. They didn't care. They could care less until it arrived in their household, till it affected their children, the one they love, And now it's here, right? Now it's here. They're going to demonize the other side that helped them accomplish most of these things. And people continue to put the blinders on. Like I said, we're being split up, man, into two classes of people, it seems. Well, really three, right? You got the pure people that really do, want to create a better world, unity, truth, love, peace, and they're really seeking for, good things, all things good, and wholeness, with all of us. You have those people. They're few and far between, it appears, but I think there's more than what people think. And then you have those that completely roll over and capitulate no matter what, and they're cowards, right? That's what they really are. They're cowards. It's all about self-preservation. They'll murder you to go on another day. It's not survival of the fittest. You can't say that because they're not the fittest, right? It's survival of the most cunning, evil, lying, murderous, right? Is what it really is. And then you got the people who kind of pretend to stand on a moral high ground, yet they still capitulate until it hits their front door and affects self. Those would be the lukewarm people. Right? They don't really stand up for other people. They might claim to, or they might, virtue signal about certain causes, probably just online, or, whatever their field of work is. They say that that's something humanitarian. But at the same time, they do nothing, right, to actually help better the world or bring anything good into the world. And then when they become the victim, right, then it's a problem too, right? They stand in the middle though, and they just watch, and not in the middle as in the narrow path, as in they're lukewarm, right? They're not either hot or cold, right? And we know that this is that generation. When it talks about the 7 churches in the Bible, in the church of Laodicea, right? It says you're neither hot nor cold. You're lukewarm, so I'll spew you out of my mouth. I believe that is very metaphorical for if all things exist within God, right? Nothing exists outside of God. If God spews you out of his mouth, you no longer exist, right? So he's saying you wasn't good or evil, right? You didn't stand for anything, so you fell for everything, right? And all you really cared about was your own existence. And there's no room for that when you're consciously going to a higher level, because it's all about serving other people, helping other people, giving to other people, doing for other people. But now, like I said, even the social justice warriors and the cancel culture is under attack. Matter of fact, another lights camera action moment in Melbourne, Australia. I mean, I'm telling you guys, this shit's getting crazy.
Rafi, come here.
Just let's go.
Run across the line! Run across the line!
Look at the camera guy. Like, if you're going to pull the wool over people's eyes, why the fuck do they let the camera guy get right in the middle, and he's clearly like a professional photographer just from looking at his camera alone. And you're going to do these things. Why do you let people have their damn camera phones out and shit and catch it all before it starts? I mean, the whole thing. It's just like, it's sloppy. You know why it's sloppy? Because they believe you're that stupid. Seriously, they believe you're that gullible, right? Remember, you're goyim, or cattle, which is a derivative of the word golem, which means you're a soulless being to be used for their purposes.
hands! Put your belly on the ground! Put your belly on the ground now! This your barrack?
Gabby, you're not hurt?
And you know what? And this kind of brings to mind, it was on one of the private videos that we did. It was a phone call by some chief of Sydney police or some shit like that, right, in Australia. And he's going into talking about how, you know, in this meeting that's supposedly secretly recorded, right, how they're going to have to go basically door to door killing people is what it made it sound like, and how they were, you know, going after everybody that was speaking out. And it's like shit like that, like it was like the precursor to shit like this, right? It was like putting it in your mind. They were planting the seed. None of this shit, think about it, they've kept so much shit secret over the years. So many things secret over the years, and it doesn't come out until they want it to come out. And this goes all the way across the spectrum. And please correct me if I'm wrong, right? You can see this with the whole pizza shit, right? Like, do you honestly think that that was some leaked, you know, documents that came out and that Julian Assange wasn't in on all of that? Come on, man. You're tripping. You're tripping. Right? And they just conveniently had, you know, Illuminati cards decades before, right, to tell you exactly what events was going to happen, from 9/11 to the Pentagon to Fukushima to Pizzagate to all of it, right? I mean, down to where we're at now, even D.C. being surrounded in razor wire in the martial law, or the quarantine. I mean, all of these things. And it's just conveniently decades ahead of time, they've had these things in preparation, right? Even in the enough is enough Trump card, right? You see like the C and the warp speed logo inside of that card, right? And yet people still believe there's something organic to all of this, that there's truth in all of this, and they allow this story to catch them, right? To hook them. Hook, line, and sinker. And this is one of the best ones I've seen. And I think I've shown it before. I don't know if I've shown it publicly, but I know I've shown it on the private video, so I wanted to show it today. This is Protester for Pussies. This is Ukraine. Just want to say that something tells me that this one is not fake. Watch. And this kind of just shows you, too. And I'm not advocating for any type of violence in any way, shape, or form, but do you see what happens, like in a genuine setting where the people are really pissed off and they're like, going off on the powers that be? Right? They're going in the opposite direction. And it's none of that Melbourne shit you seen where there was just a few of them marching and, in an orderly line and everybody, running, looking back and all that. Something totally different. I mean, you can hear the entire video, the sound of the rocks hitting their shields and them knocking out officers and you can even watch. They would chase them around too. Very crazy. Yeah, so very, very different atmosphere, like I said, than what you've seen in Australia. I mean, nothing close to what you've seen here, right? You see them all single file and orderly, and they're just chilling, barking orders. And I mean, I've even seen this. I've got video from them in Germany and everything, and you can tell when they're, I don't want to say genuine, because that's not a good word. I believe that they use instigators and agitators at all of these different things in all these countries, because this is the agenda. This is the plan, right? They want to control the protests. They don't want them to. They don't want them to become organic, right? If they get it out of the way now, then they can bring in the militaries, the National Guards, and chain shit off and put up razor wire. That way, when you really figure out what's going on and shit really hits the fan, which I believe is pretty close. We're getting really close to all of that, where people, now that they're losing jobs and this whole dishonorable discharge and just all of these things that are beginning to take place. We're going to see something totally different. And even the SEALs kind of describes the same thing if you really look at it, right? You really look at it, it's talking about, we see this yoking into servitude, and then what happens right after that, right? They were given authority over the earth to kill its population with the sword, famine, and disease. Right there. And see, if you think about that, given authority over a fourth of the earth. They were given authority, a privilege, permission, the right to do something, the capacity, the competence, the delegated influence, or the mastery. And they also use the word magistrate, superhuman, taken control of, right? So they were taken control of, and magistrate is a word from derivative of the fallen or the archons, supreme magistrate, right? Supreme ones, right? So they are magistrates. So we see the word magistrate in there as well. So this lets you know that it's an archonic influence in itself, right? Over a fourth of the earth. So 1 in 4, right? To kill its population. To kill outright or to destroy, right? And with the sword. And the sword just simply means a saber and a long and broad cutlass, a weapon of any kind. So any type of weapon. That can be psychological warfare, biological warfare. That can be tanks and, soldiers. That can be anything, right? It just means a weapon. Famine, which that would be your, scarcity of food is the actual definition, but famine, hunger, scarcity of food supplies, and disease, which disease just means thanatos, which means death, right? So this is just death. It's not like, and a lot of people will point to disease in the Bible, and they've seen pastors and shit do this because they don't really know the etymology of the words, and they'll be like, see, the virus is in there, right? No, they're not talking about a virus at all. If they were talking about a virus or something like that, they would use another word, like what we see when it talks about the beast taking the fatal wound to the head, which wound means plague, which means a scourge or an affliction. That would be an actual disease or a sickness, right? So they take a scourge to the head and live, right? A scourge to the head and live. And by the wild animals of the earth. And this is a dangerous animal, and think about this too. A venomous wild beast. What would a venomous wild beast be? Right? The beasts of the field, and they're venomous. These would be serpents. This would be, the fallen. This would be the Gentile. This would be the demonic side of humanity, or the archons themselves. And because they are seraphim, right? These fire beings. That's a serpent being as well, right? So it's by our nature and by the archonic powers that are using humanity to accomplish this. And see, it says, now when the Lamb opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar of souls those who had been killed, violently killed, which means to butcher, which is what? Sacrificed. Those who had been sacrificed. Why? Because it's all ritual. Every bit of this is ritualistic. And people can say what they want about me. I don't give a fuck. This is what the word says. This isn't, me. This is my interpretation of it. But I'm telling you, whenever they was bringing out, C19, right? Is it any coincidence that, that the tarot number 19 is the sun card? And it's called Corona, right? Corona, which is, a sun or a crown, right? And it's a virus of the crown chakra. It's a virus of the mind, right? It's a virus of the mind, or a virus of the Son of God, right? To kill the spirit, right? So people can say what they want, and then you see, the Abraham Accord promising peace and security 3 different times on the damn coin, right? And showing the entire ritual on the back of that coin. Let me just pull it up just for those who haven't seen it. But most of you probably have if you've watched this channel any amount of time. But for those who haven't, let me get this. I think I got it on this one, yeah. Right here. See? They showed you with the sigil, right? This is like a totem or a sigil. This is for the spell, because it's what? It's a sacrifice. It's a ritual. See? They're promising your peace. I give you lasting peace in this place. Seek peace, pursue it. If one inclines towards peace, right? And this is Donald John Trump, which was Cyrus, right? And in his 4th year, the outsider ruling Babylon, the Israel 70 years, the building of the 3rd temple, which is the abomination of desolation, right? Sitting in the place of God. 1st temple, 2nd temple, 3rd temple. He built the 3rd temple, Operation Warp Speed. And this is a sigil for the ritual, right? The heart, the seat of the soul, your DNA, jab, satellite, cogs in the wheel or the machine, the palm, Passover, binary code, 5G or Wi-Fi, SpaceX, and then the olive branch or the dove for peace, or the sign of Jonah. And then there's your great conjunction, right? Where the end of the age begins or ends, and you have the war in heaven, right? This is showing you the timeline. This is showing you when it was all going to happen. And they tell you when they promise peace and security, sudden destruction will come upon them, right? And that's exactly what's happened. That's exactly what's happened. And these that the Lamb opened the fifth seal and saw the souls who had been violently killed, who had been sacrificed or slaughtered because of the word of God and because of the testimony they had given. Because of the evidence. Because of the evidence. They told the truth. They showed people what the hell was going on. That's why they got killed. Right? And what are a lot of these people that are falling into these traps, these snares? And remember, it says, don't harm the olive oil and the wine. Right? And in Exodus, Moses talks about two different harvests, right? One, and I forget and I'll pull it up here in a second, but he gives them specific names, right? Saying, there's a time, this first harvest, and it's like an early harvest, and they have their time, and then there's those who are basically ripe at the end, and then there's a harvest again. This is all about, in my opinion, this is your ET alien agenda right here, is the harvesting of souls. It's just like the Matrix, right? And they're even now doing things where the human body can power different things because of the BTUs it puts off. We'll even get into some of the different microchips that are coming out that are going off of neural networks. It's absolutely crazy. And what's it say? The fifth seal, the altar souls who have been violently killed because of the word of God or the evidence they had given. They cried out with a loud voice, how long, sovereign master or absolute ruler, holy and true, before you judge those who live on the earth and avenge our blood, vindicate their blood. Each of them was given a long white robe, and they were told just to rest for a little longer until the full number was reached of both their fellow servants and their brothers who were going to be killed just as they had been. They were going to be sacrificed too, right? Don't harm the olive oil and the wine. And all of this, which you've watched play out in real time, you're watching. Look. They're putting it right in your face, too. Let me see if I can find the article. Where is it at? See, the workers who keep global supply chains moving are warning of a system collapse. Putting it right in your face. It's all happening right in your face. Right? And even they're telling you the celestial alignments too. I looked, and here came a pale green horse. The name who rode on it was Death, and Hades followed right behind. Right? And this is cost a day's pay. This is hyperinflation. What's happening? The workers who keep a global supply chain moving are warning of a system collapse. Yoking them into servitude through law or obligation. What's happening? They're mandating different laws and obligations. Right? Do you see we're right on time with all of this? That they're putting it right there in front of your face? And you can see what the next agenda is, right? The fifth seal, the ones who had been sacrificed were violently killed because of the evidence they had given. These are your domestic terrorists. These are the ones they're going after now, right? To rid the world of those that are resisting this agenda. That's why they did the whole controlled opposition, trust the plan bullshit, right? It was just like Operation Trust. Right? That's why, Biden declared his victory on the 100th anniversary of the Bolshevik Revolution. That's why Trust the Plan, Operation Trust, right? The anti-controlled opposition movements that were, supposedly organically, created, but they weren't, right? They were used to bring out those that would dissent, right? Nothing new under the sun. This happens over and over. World War I, II, and III. That's how Albert Pike knew how all of them would play out. Right? That's how he knew how all of them would play out, because they were all scripted to play out exactly that way. And they go along with the big script, which is the Bible, the scripture, right? Base word being script. And it all happens right before this. Then I looked, and the Lamb opened the sixth seal. A huge earthquake took place. The sun became as black as sackcloth made of hair, and the full moon became blood red, and the stars in the sky fell to the earth like a fig tree dropping its unripe figs when shaken by a fierce wind. The sky was split apart like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved from its place. Then the kings of the earth, the very important people, the generals, the rich, the powerful, and everyone, slave and free, hid themselves in the caves and among the rocks of the mountains. They said to the mountains and to the rocks, "Fall on us, and hide us from the face of the one who is seated on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb." Or because the great day of their wrath has come, and who is able to withstand it, right? And in my opinion, they roll all this out because they know what's happening, right? It's a magnetic reversal or a magnetic excursion. That's why the sky rolls back like a scroll. That's why the sun becomes black as sackcloth. I think the sun and this creation knows exactly what amount of heat to give off when it needs to give it off. So it goes into almost like a dormant state as its binary companion, or maybe it's Jupiter, I don't know, Planet X comes in and triggers all of these events, which we're seeing, you're going to see here in just a moment, just how insane all the things are. But you can see right here just how fast this shit's moving, guys. I mean, honestly, look, 83.6 miles, September 17, 2021, 82.37 miles, and before the 40-degree mark in the pole shift. 82 miles. 82 miles this year this thing has moved. That is absolutely insane, right? Absolutely insane. And I don't know why my gaming shit's opening up. Anyways, we've seen a 20% increase over the last 3 months in the speed of the magnetic excursion that's taking place too. Right, so as we watch the poles split apart and we see the South Atlantic anomaly grow and continue to repel both of those magnetic poles towards Siberia, right, we see the increase in the speed and just how close we really are to that 40-degree mark. I mean, we're insanely close right now, and it's absolutely insane, right? And that's why they have got to get rid of all the dissenters, all of those who are bringing out the evidence, witnesses against them, right? And, set up the militaries and bring in the laws and obligations and, trigger the collapse of the system. This is all part of the plan. This is the script. And it looks to be going, it's right on time. Matter of fact, geomagnetic storm watch, minor G1 class geomagnetic storms likely tomorrow on October 1st when a CME is expected to hit Earth's magnetic field, and the incoming CME was hurled in our direction by a C1 6 class solar flare from the decaying sunspot AR2871 on the 28th. And there's a chance that the CME will sweep up another, less massive CME en route to Earth. The combined impact could boost storm levels to category G2. And I'm telling you, Earth can make its own auroras, the auroras, and I'm going to show you an abstract in just a second too, where these things have happened in the past. And the auroras are a big indicator of these magnetic events. All of these, the solar activity, a big indicator of these events, because there's nothing new under the sun. This shit happens over and over and over again. And here's another one, big indicator. Arctic sea ice hits the 2021 minimum. Look, to get the polar bear chilling on a fucking beach or something. Yeah. And that's same thing. You look at the Lost Book of Inky before, all hell broke loose. The Doomsday Glacier busted loose in a large tsunami or tidal wave, basically across the northern continents. It was catastrophic. And that was one of the times that we've been destroyed. You can see the Arctic sea ice is past its minimum extent for this year, shrinking 4.72 million square kilometers. On the 16th of September, the National Snow and Ice Data Center has reported. And owing to a cool and cloudy Arctic summer, this year's annual minimum was the highest since 2014. Ice covered nearly 1 million square kilometers more than last year. Excuse me. 3.82. And you can see here the ice cover they're showing you over the past 10 years. You can see this giant ass dip, right? Over the past decade. And the ice cover. That's because we're heading towards these events. And remember, the final conflagration, when everything comes to its original place in the heavens and all the planets align. Check this out. I think it was just a week or so ago that I showed this the last time. But I want you to look at this, man. This is wild. Watch how close the outer bodies are coming in towards the inner bodies. Look, you can see Mars and the Sun right here, right in the west, and Mercury, Venus. We are from the position of Earth, and then look right here. There's Death and Hades right here. Death and Hades with Jupiter and Neptune. Look how close they are, guys. Look at that. That is absolutely insane. And Uranus out here. But all of them coming straight into alignment, and now it's both sides. They're like moving into the earth like perfectly. I've never ever seen anything like this. And I don't know why other people don't talk about this. It blows my mind why they don't talk about it, but you know, who am I? I'm just a guy. Check this out. Intel's new neuromorphic CPU Loihi 2 is ready today. And this is pretty wild. And let me see if I can actually go to and show you. Whoops. Where is it at? The wiki chip. And see, there is more and more of this stuff happening right now. Look, the Loihi neuromorphic research test chip designed by Intel Labs uses an asynchronous spiking neural network. And when this is coming out, it reminds me of like the patent, the World Order 2020 A1. Right, they come out with the cryptocurrency system using body activity data. At the same time, they declare the national emergency and start rolling out this part of agenda. Well, now you have this kind of stuff coming out too, so it lets you know how they're gradually moving into these different phases of everything. This uses an asynchronous spiking neural network to implement adaptive, self-modifying, event-driven, fine-grained, parallel computations used to implement learning and interference with high efficiency. The chip is 128 neuromorphic cores or mini-core IC fabricated Intel's 14mm process and features a unique programmable microcode learning engine for on-chip SNN training. The chip was formally presented at the 2018 Neuro-Inspired Computational Elements Workshop in Oregon. The chip is named after the Loihi volcano as a play on words. Loihi is an emerging Hawaiian submarine volcano that is set to surface one day, right? The play on words. So it's something, explosive that's set to surface one day. And they're telling you, like, the neural network, right? It's set to surface one day. It's saying it's emerging, right? A Mars-like outer planet might be hiding in the outer solar system. Let me make this a little bigger here. Whoops. Probably too big, but it's all good. The team found that models capable... Whoops. I think I went too far down. Yeah, I did. In the 21st century has taught us Any astronomical lessons? It's that counting planets is hard. In 2000, there were 9, and now there are 8, but that might not last. Astronomers have been on the hunt for a theorized 9th planet in the extreme outer solar system, and now a study suggests there might be another planet out there. Unlike the massive and completely hypothetical Planet 9, this one is believed to be a small, rocky world like Mars. All the planetary uncertainty, lies in the outer reaches of the solar system beyond the orbit of Neptune, and this is where Clyde Tombaugh discovered Pluto, which we thought was a planet for decades, and since been demoted to a dwarf planet. Still notable discovery, the first known representative of the Kuiper Belt ring of icy rocks. And to make sense of the mishmash of objects out there, scientists often turn to simulations that can search for signs of undiscovered planets. And there can be a lot to find out. It seems unlikely that nature created 4 giant planet cores, but then nothing else larger than dwarf planets in the outer solar system. And more on Planet 9. And dude, there's just every time I look at anything, I see more. Planet 9 location, orbit, distance, name, and black hole theory for the mysterious solar system object. And we're going to look at some of this stuff here in just a minute, talking about how there were black hole collisions with the Earth. It's just fucking crazy. It says, in our solar system, may be a lot more complicated than it looks. For the last few years, astronomers have been searching for and debating the existence of Planet 9, a giant orbiting somewhere far beyond Pluto, and even an unseen influence on the orbits of smaller objects in the outer solar system. While the several dwarf planets seem to point toward this unseen larger-than-Earth object, it's eluded astronomers thus far, and not all of them take it as a matter of time. Several astronomers think that it may just be a sampling bias that may not be as weird as it seems. And here's everything you need to know. Planet 9, the hypothetical giant planet that may be orbiting the sun somewhere beyond Pluto. And you're going to see, too, here in just a moment, that there is, I believe it's, I don't want to say it wrong, I think it's Tolman's bolide theory. Talks about these different, that I think it's 7 points in the past, but it's between 2021 and 2049. There's going to be another, where thousands of meteors basically, screw up the magnetic field of the planet and hit the surface of the Earth, and these cause catastrophic events. Where they're now talking about super CMEs, where these have happened over time, and they're in the tree rings, right, of the Earth, and they've got a couple of different points where they can pin this down, where these super CMEs have come and they've caused catastrophic events. All these different things that they keep putting together and showing you where there's catastrophe, even where they are now pointing to the moon has a comet-like tail, and it's moving away from the Earth. We're losing the moon. Well, something's got to be doing that, right? Or they say there's evidence of these black hole catastrophes that have hit the Earth, and this is supposedly, some people believe Planet 9 is like a black hole. If you look at the magnetism and what people think of when they look at Planet X, right? Like, it's got these gamma bursts, and it's got the power almost of a black hole with the way that it does these gamma bursts out of its poles. Says these objects, including the dwarf planet Sedna, loop around the sun in long, narrow, elliptical orbits. And there was even a meteor that just came very close to the Earth. And they said, it came from behind the sun. It's like they're putting little tidbits and clues out there for everybody. And nobody seems to be catching on to any of these things that are happening. See, super bright aurora lights up Earth's night side, an incredible image from space. This one is special as it's so bright. So the whole night side of Earth lit up by an aurora. Remember, these are just heated gases on the ionosphere, right, that are creating these colors and auroras. This is part, as you're going to see in the abstract in just a second, of some of the super CME events that have happened in the past. There were auroras all across the planet. And another aurora, but this one is special. It's so bright. It's the full moon lighting up the shadow side of the Earth almost like daylight. Where's it at here? Swiss glaciers shrinking Rates of melting accelerated in the last 10 years. We just showed the Arctic, right? And the acceleration of the melting over the last 10 years there.
In 4 hours, Matthias Huss has reached the middle of an alpine glacier. Such hikes are common for him. He's not on an expedition, but is here for an important work. Huss heads Switzerland's glacier monitoring network. His mission today is to check the glacier's measurements, and he's not happy with the findings. The glacier has been shrinking. It lost a cubic kilometer of ice in the last 10 years.
Mais un glacier est comme un thermomètre très très grand.
A glacier is like a very large thermometer that visualizes climate change. It's not like the weather that can be one day warmer, one day cooler.
Yeah, so the glacier's warming up and disappearing. Look, scientists discovered ancient solar superflares. Solar superstorm rocked the Earth in 774, 775 CE. Scientists uncovered this event in 2012 when analyzing a spike in carbon-14 found in tree rings. Trees around the world bear evidence of the carbon-14 spike, showing that the event was global in scale. Last month, scientists announced that after searching just 1 of 6 of the available tree ring data, they found evidence of 2 more events in 5259 BCE and 7176. They submitted their paper for peer review, and here's the paper. Tree rings reveal 2 strong solar proton events in 71, 76, and 5259. And speaking of, the proton events, we're having those things happening right now, which I don't know what's potentially hazardous here. Anyways, we're having those events right now happening. I've got an image just from yesterday of, I'll pull it up here. Right here. See? We're getting the same things that are taking place right now, man. These are from coronal mass ejections. These are from flares from the sun that are creating these proton events on the Earth right now, man. This is right now. This is happening right now. Yet people, they don't put 2 and 2 together. This is a cyclical thing that's taking place here, right? It's on a cycle, and we're getting all the signs to show us. And if we look here, just take a look at the abstract. The sun sporadically produces eruptive events leading to intense fluxes of solar energetic particles that dramatically disrupt the near-Earth radiation environment. Such events are directly studied for the last decades, but little is known about the occurrence and magnitude of rare extreme SCP events. Presently, few events that produce measurable signals and cosmogenic radionuclides, such as carbon-14, may have been found. Analyzing annual concentrations in the tree rings from Switzerland, Germany, Ireland, Russia, and the USA were discovered 2 spikes in the atmospheric carbon-14 corresponding 71, 76, and 52, 59, and the 2% increase in atmospheric carbon recorded in both events exceeds all previously known carbon peaks, but after the correction for the geomagnetic field, they are comparable to the largest events of this type discovered so far at 775. And we've shown, the whole map that shows the timeline biblically, right? Not only do we see, let me go here. You can see, right, the magnetic poles shifting, right? The excursion taking place. And the South Atlantic anomaly, which is creating said excursion, I believe, right, which is from this Planet 9 or dwarf star, which is what's created, right, these eclipses that are 7 years apart. What I believe the Great Sign was signaling to us, what all of these flood maps are showing us will be the result of this, and what the biblical timeline is showing us. See, every couple 100 years. Right? And see if it matches up with their timeline. See? 687. And that would be 358 years apart, so around 700. See? Look, their timeline matches up perfectly with this shit too. That's what I'm trying to say. Look, 707 AD. The Mayans drop. Constantine. So all of this shit's lining up, whether you go look at science and scientific tree rings, the Bible, right? It's all showing you the same thing, right? And they're all coming from similar events. We have the Arctic melting, magnetic changes from the magnetic excursion, the flares, and the solar activity. These are all constants that happen. And these constants actually drive the different changes on the Earth. And the changes are plenty right now, right? New eruption at Kilauea, aviation color raised to red. Unprecedented power outages hit China's homes and factories, increasing global supply chain chaos. Now you think about the whole supply chain thing and why there's panic. Well, China experiencing mass power outages. Where are they experienced from? Probably from, maybe not from CMEs. I don't know if it's CMEs as much as it's these geomagnetic anomalies that are creating, these electromagnetic pulses, if you will. This could just be charged particles in the Earth from all of the cosmic rays and energy that's coming through the magnetosphere, being trapped because of the greenhouse gas effect. Or this could actually just be from this neutron star getting so fucking close that it's causing these different disturbances in different frequencies. Lava flow at La Palma reaches seas, Canary Islands, which I have some footage of that, and I'll show some videos in just a second. Powerful blizzard hits northern Iceland. Europe's crippling energy crisis passages troubles for the rest of the world. Strong and shallow, magnitude 6, hits Crete. And then dual rapidly strengthening into the third super typhoon of the 2021 Pacific season. And look, you can see here, one of the best ever photos of a gigantic jet. That's so crazy. And all of this, now look, you can see it in real time too, right? Happening around the world. All the different events. Right here, look, birds dropping like flies right here. And let me pull this up.
С воронами что-то не то творится.
Look at that. I believe that this is created, and this is happening. We've seen like lightning strikes in fields kill sheep, or deer or shit like that migrating in the wrong direction, birds migrating to the wrong places. This is all from magnetics. Just like you have a magnetic field, right, emanating from your heart, and that's why they do the social distancing of 6 feet, because your field is 6 feet. And you have a magnetic pole at your pineal, that place of God, which is destroyed, through nanotechnology. And we know what's doing that. Animals, same way, right? They're internally driven from electromagnetic, internally as well. They have a field. They generate power the same way human body generates BTUs. They generate energy in this field. Can create shock and just drop them like flies, or cause their inner compass, so to speak, to be off and then migrate to the wrong place, and it's climate or something that kills them. Or there's different gases that are coming out from crustal displacement of the earth, right, that are toxic, and they can be in specific areas. That kills them. The water can become toxic and this kills them. It's all from the same thing though at the end of the day. I mean, look at that. This is weird shit everywhere too. Hold on, I've got some more weird ones to show. I think this is La Palma right here, volcano.
Son casas que está llevando adelante. Vamos, que las Metente desde otro punto de vista. Me he alejado un poco del colegio porque la cosa se estaba poniendo complicada. Todo ese humo blanco, gas, como quiera llamarlo, son casas que está llevando adelante. Vamos, que las está desplazando, o sea, se está comiendo. Vale. Eso de arriba es la otra lengua que está viendo por encima de la otra.
And you can remember too, they were talking about like basically, what was it, like thunderbolts or some shit being created from a lot of these, you know, volcanic clouds and shit, man. So I mean, this is which in the wildfires doing the same thing, you know, creating these type of clouds that are basically big giant clouds of static electricity. So as they roll along, it's just creating more and more dry conditions and more, you know, lightning bolts hitting the ground, striking, creating more fire. But it's all from the same thing. Look at this. These are magnetic anomalies in the sky. You see these beams? One could say, you know, it's one of two possibilities if you really look at it. When you see these beams, and I'll let it play because it's on both sides of the sky. So, very strange. One could say, well, that's planets, right? See, look at that. Other side of the sky. That's planets blocking out parts of the sun. That could be it. But it could also be different variations in electromagnetic field, right? Which is essentially magnetically like sucking the light out of different parts of the sky, right? Because it's different waves of frequency or magnetism, right? And it's on both sides, right? So, you know, the sun isn't doing all that. Something else has got to be doing that. Something else is changing that. When it says the sky recedes back like a scroll, you know, maybe this is the beginning of something like that. See?
Se está llevando los coches, se está llevando los coches. Ay, Dios mío, los coches, mira todo. Mira la que está liando en la cooperativa. Mira la que está liando en la cooperativa. Mira la que se está liando. Mira los coches, Luz. Por el muelle. Mira, Luz, los coches. Nuestro coche, tía. Ay, Rocío. Nos tenemos que ir aquí, mira los coches allí.
And see, and you're seeing like the similar things that are taking place everywhere. We just shown, you know, the magnetic field and how fast it's migrating, right? The poles are migrating over 83 miles. You know, they'll try to tell you in the scientific consensus that it's 40 to 50 miles a year. Well, it's went over 83 already, so it's almost doubled. You know, what was, and that was high, right? That was like high. It had jumped in 10 years, like way over the norm. And it keeps just doubling as time goes on. And we're seeing it migrate faster and faster. And you're seeing the changes. And that's why we have like the cyclonic action in the atmosphere. That's why we have the auroras on the ionosphere and the different gases escaping. This is all from crustal displacement and the loosening of the crust as it's shifting and allowing those gases to escape, the cosmic rays that are coming in, and it's charging, it's creating a big giant cycle of this energy, which, you know, I do believe could be an explanation, you know, for the bolides, for the fireballs and all of this. They could actually be part of this cycle where so much of it gets concentrated that it becomes like plasmatic and comes back down in the form of fireballs. And that would be like your explanation. If there really is no space as we know it, or space is water, right? Like an ocean instead of, you know, a vacuum, that would be your explanation of how asteroids, fireballs, and things like that exist, right? It would be part of the energy cycle, and they would be plasmatic more than anything. And they would have different gases, just the same that's burning up into the ionosphere that's coming up out of the crust, right? That's why they would burn in different colors. It would all make sense and be part of this giant cycle, you know? But that's just a guess from me. So I don't know. You know, I'm just guessing. But I do know there's a lot of crazy shit going on. Like, I knew when we seen the 42 people killed in the lightning storm, I knew that we were getting ready to head into some really gnarly shit, right? And we continue to see the celestial phenomenon in the sky too as well, which lets you know that something is changing with the clock up above our heads also, right? We know astrologically, like, that's the clock, you know, the planets, the stars. That's our real clock. Time's an illusion. The only clock we really have is the stars that obey, you know, the laws of creation. And even talks about when they stop obeying those laws, right? That's when you're at that revealing time, that apocalypse or the end of the cycle. And that's what we're seeing. And seeing like Jupiter, right? Like the 4 moons, really weird looking. And everybody wants to jump to...
Hello guys.
You...
Trying out a new cell phone because I...
UFOs, right? That's where everybody wants to go to automatically. Oh, it's a UFO, it's aliens, it's... I have news for you. I think that the only aliens here is you and me, right? We're the aliens. we're the ones that, are interdimensional entities. And, you know, this, when you look at the whole Sky Dome Atlantis or the star in a jar and, you know, like this prism effect and how light would travel through it, creating a holographic image. And what 3D would essentially be is a shadow of something that's 4-dimensional. You know, it makes perfect sense that that's what's actually taking place on Earth, right? And we probably are, if not the fallen, we're related to them somehow. And where we see, once again, the object right in front of the clouds, with the clouds behind it, is this a refraction of light off the magnetic field that's creating this? Or is there an actual object? But you can see, like, in every single facet, right? Whether it's political, it's nature, it's birds falling out of the sky, flooding, I mean, whatever it is. It looks like the self-destruct button has been hit on this reality. Once again. And see, and this is like boring to most truthers. That's what's crazy about it. They see 2 suns, no big deal, right? I've seen 1 billion of those. But what we're witnessing, what we're a part of right now, is something just, it's incredible to witness. It's incredible to be a part of. Honestly. And it's a shame that people have been conditioned so much to the point to where, you know, these type of extraordinary things that are taking place become, it's, you know, they become like dumbed down and numbed out to all of it, right? They're desensitized to everything.
Снимаем источник в Южной Осетии.
And this is in Russia. This is fresh water coming up out of the ground, gravity going in the wrong direction.
Пожалуйста, вот течет вода. Вот обычная вода из-под земли, которую можно пить, умыться, руки помыть. А теперь я зажигалку не могу, Зурик. А ну-ка, зажги его. Чтобы людям было понятно.
Ну-ка.
Вот, пожалуйста. Вода горит. Нонсенс, да?
Этому есть научное
Можно,
объяснение.
пожалуйста, камушки поставить, сюда казан и вари хоть супчик, хоть что хочешь, хоть барана вари, хоть плов вари. Вот, пожалуйста, могу затушить его. Раз, все, затушил. Вот опять сейчас зажгу, смотрите.
Немного она горит.
Вот, пожалуйста, опять зажгли. Фокус, дай только. Это природное явление.
I don't know if I would drink it if you could catch it on fire. I'm just saying. Just saying. Don't know if I would drink that one. And you can see the red object here. That's plain as day right there too. And I'll show you in just a second. They're literally showing you articles now about meteors coming from behind the sun and the close calls with the earth. It's like they continue to put it out there, you know, for all to see, but people are just blind. They're focused on everything but what's important, what's going on around them. And am I saying, oh, it's important that you focus on a planet of death coming in to destroy you? No. I'm saying it's important that you focus on what it all means, right? If it's an end of a cycle, if it's, you know, the collapsing of reality, you know, or this reality, at least, this dimension, then that means it's time for you to get serious, you know, spiritually, I guess, and focus on yourself and learning who you are, you know, in all of this, what your purpose is, what the meaning of life is to you, you know, and it doesn't matter what I think the meaning of life is. It doesn't matter what I think you're meant to do. It matters what you believe, you know. What do you feel you were put here to do? Who do you feel that you are? You know, and we have to embrace that from, you know, and I think I even spoke about this like the last time. You know, even from the costumes that we wear, right? Like, you know, be authentic and be unique and be you. Because to me, that's what all of this is about. You know, it's taking away all the distractions as technology and all of these advancements will continue to fail, right? We're seeing the power outages in China, and as everything collapses, it's going to take away all the distractions so you can be still and hear the voice of God, you know, or if you want to hear it, right? If you're seeking that. And the veil is lifting, and, you know, basically the show is over, right? Like all of the crisis bullshit and all of that is being exposed now, so you can see it for what it is, right? And that's, like I said, it's all a projection of who we are on the inside as well. So if we're projecting the truth outwardly, then we have to look inwardly, you know, and be honest about who we are, you know, and really see ourselves for who we are, you know, flaws and all, you know, and we have to learn how to come together. And, you know, to me, it's not as much about like waking people up, so to speak. It's more about just, you know, giving people the confirmation that they need, you know, for the things that they already know within them. Giving people a place to come together and talk about the things that they've now been banned and barred from talking about publicly. And for people to make real connections, to exchange numbers, to get to know one another, because all of this is going to fade away, right? All that we know. And then all we're going to have is each other, you know, is one another. So we have to learn how to see past all of those differences, you know, whether it be religious, political, whatever. And we have to learn how to take it past the internet too, you know, take it past the internet. It's cool to be in a group setting and all of that, you know, it's fine, but there's a point where the real connection is made one-on-one, Even if it's just talking on the telephone to somebody, and having a personal conversation, or it's meeting in person and just having coffee and talking about these things, we need to get to know who each other really are as well. DoD trying to keep China from accessing critical U.S. space technology. And they're showing you with all of this as well, where we're at with all of this. And I do believe, watch World War III will be a water war. Sure. Game of drones. China unveils deadly new anti-submarine drone that can wipe out U.S. targets amid World War III fears as Beijing bullies Taiwan. You see the drones here. Let's see if we can get this to play without getting this a strike. And explosive revelation. North Korea fires another missile as the state ramps up weapons testing, sparking fresh World War III fears. And when it comes to Korea, man, you see the North and the South coming together more and more as time goes on. And I believe that's probably gonna happen. It looks like South Korea, and I've always said this, I think that there'll be one to flip. You might possibly see Japan flip, Taiwan. There's quite a few countries that I don't think are going to be on the side of the U.S. NATO when all is said and done with all of this. Let's see if we can get this shit to play. But you can see the drones in the background right there. And this is going to be the cover, right? The war will be the cover. This is how they'll use each other's military to invade each other's populations. And they'll use, it's a ICBM, it's a nuclear bomb to explain a lot of this. One of the largest comets ever seen is heading our way. Comet Bernardini-Bernstein offers a rare opportunity for a generation of astronomers to study an object from the extreme edges of the system. More than 2.7 billion miles from the sun, 29 times farther than Earth, treads a tiny sliver of sunlight reflected off something plummeting towards our home star. Something icy, something unimaginably old, and something big. About 4 hours later, I've got this in another article here. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Asteroid 2021 SG came from the sun's direction. And you can see right there, they've got it marked out. Right around these same spots where we're catching these objects, too, around the sun. So I think that's kind of unique. Illustration shows asteroid 2021 SG just 24 hours before its closest approach to the Earth on September 16th. And it was close to the sun's direction in our sky, so astronomers didn't spot it until the day after its closest approach. See, and it was bigger than Chelyabinsk, found 4 times larger than the 17-meter space rock that disintegrated over Russia. And this is them telling you, man, it's going to come from behind the sun, so hey, we don't know anything about it. And geoengineering. A stark warning. Spraying aerosols into the atmosphere may be fraught with risk, but to dismiss it is out of hand, is irresponsible, a climate scientist argue. Yeah, and this is all the geoengineering. They're trying to push this. They're capitalizing on the changes that are taking place from the magnetic excursion, the crustal displacement, the solar cycles. All of these things, right? All the cyclonic weather that's taking place all over the planet, all of these things, the volcanic, seismic activity, they're saying, this is climate change, and we need to geoengineer, but this is all part of the plan, right? This is them essentially terraforming, the Earth, as they've terraformed you as well, right? This is assimilation with you as well for singularity, and it's all into the artificial system. They're saying it's irresponsible. Biggest meteor to hit Earth caused millions of damages. The biggest space object to enter Earth's atmosphere since 1908 caused millions of damages and injured more than 1,200 people. And the largest crater that has ever been discovered on Earth is known as Vredefort crater, located in South Africa. The meteor that caused the crater stretches some 190 miles in diameter, estimated to be around 6 miles wide. The largest meteor to enter the Earth's atmosphere, called Chelyabinsk, exploded over Russia. And you can see just a lot about these different events that have created impacts over the Earth. And here's the other one on Bernardini. Not to be alarmed, but there's a mega comet making its way to our solar system. And the night sky holds the answers to some of our biggest questions. Alien, time, black holes. Staring up at the stars and the moon for too long can give us a headache thinking about it all. And there's so much to unpack. And while it's not headed for Earth, it takes a deep breath. This comet will enter our solar system within a massive 160-mile diameter. And look, remember, they was just telling you in the last article that the largest one to hit was 190-mile diameter, right? So keep that in mind. And the average comet diameter is 6 miles, for reference. The comet named Bernardini-Bernstein after the astronomers' discovery is so large it was actually mistaken by scientists as a dwarf planet. Just saying. I'm just putting it out there. So they're saying, oh, well, these meteors, they're coming from behind the sun. We couldn't see it till after it was, past its closest point. Oh, well, we mistaked it for a dwarf planet. Oh, we've discovered Planet 9 now, and it's probably a dwarf star, dwarf planet. Oh, the moon's coming now, and it's moving farther away. I mean, they're giving you all the little pieces here, and then, all of these different discoveries keep pointing to the same thing, in my opinion. And they say, oh, the largest one to ever hit in Africa, it was 190 miles in diameter. This is 160-something, though. And the comet named Bernardini-Bernstein, after astronomers discovered it, was mistaken as a dwarf planet. 10 times the mass of Halley-Bopp, aka the Great Comet, is expected to brush by Saturn's orbit in the year 2031. So we have time to collect ourselves before it enters this side of the solar system. And it's coming from Saturn's orbit, which we know is, the dragon. And the Bible mentions a lot about that as well. And if you're wondering why it's such a big deal, it's because A, it's the largest comet we've seen since Halley-Bopp, and B, researchers believe it comes from the ends of our system, giving us a glimpse into its origins. Yeah, giving you a glimpse into its origins. Lunar craters could reveal past collisions with ancient black holes. Black holes born in the Big Bang could be the dark matter physicists have sought for decades if they exist. Now there's an audacious plan to find the scars they would have left as they punched through the moon. We see a lot of, the Planet X system being described as black holes, and they're now telling you, oh, there's collisions with black holes all over the place, right? Even in the moon. Strange comet erupted 4 times in a super outburst. Comet 29P is also known as one of the solar system's oddest icy objects, but the light show it put on in recent days has surprised astronomers. You see the images here. This past Saturday, a speck of light shimmering in the shadows behind Jupiter erupted. Then it kept erupting, with 2 more violent jets of material firing in space on Sunday, followed by a 4th paroxysm on Monday as it raged and flared and became 250 times brighter than usual, like a lit match before a bonfire. And this is not a distant, tempestuous star, nor is it an effervescent world covered in erupting volcanoes. This is Comet 29P. And it put on the performance of a lifetime that anyone with a powerful enough backyard telescope could see. As far as astronomers are aware, this is the first time that this comet has exhibited 4 closely spaced eruptions. Some are calling this a super outburst, and this requires an immense amount of energy. And we see our sun have outbursts too whenever it passes objects. So I wonder what is being given away by telling you that it's having these different eruptions. What is it in close proximity to even, make such a thing happen? And then back in the news again, and you guys know, like, I'm really big on Apophis because I believe it's part of, the great sign in the Revelations 12 prophecy. It just so happens that, March 6, 2021, that's when it passed. Right on time, the 1,260 days. And it's the god of chaos and darkness. It's in all the Egyptian depictions of this story. I mean, so on and so forth. The asteroid we thought might hit us. Even though the asteroid Apophis won't hit the Earth for at least another century, its scientific impact will be tremendous. On Friday, April 13th, 2029, Earth will experience a dramatic close encounter with the asteroid 99942 Apophis. The 1,120 feet, 340 meter wide object will pass within just 19,000 miles of our home planet, and a distance that brings it closer than most geostationary satellites. And thanks to the tremendous size of Apophis, its close passage will be so bright that around 2 billion people will be able to witness it with the naked eye. First becoming visible in the southern hemisphere, the asteroid will appear as bright stars streaking across the sky from east to west. Destruction comes from the east, initially passing over Australia, then the Indian Ocean, and eventually crossing over the equator over Africa. Fortunately, the spectacular and historic event won't be as severe as experts once thought. Initially, scientists were unsure whether the passage of Apophis would result in a collision of the Earth. Even when this risk was negated, researchers still cannot rule out the possibility the Earth's gravitational effects could influence the asteroid in such a way that one of the next visits could result in an impact, something that was only ruled out this year. And Apophis is in the category of potentially hazardous asteroids with orbits that bring them very close to the Earth now and for centuries in the future. We make Apophis the poster child for potentially hazardous asteroids, is that it will make the closest known approach to Earth of any large asteroid this decade. But the three most important things about Apophis are: Apophis will miss the Earth, Apophis will miss the Earth, and Apophis will miss the Earth. And this is just something new too that they've came out with, saying that Apophis won't hit. They whenever they did the 2021 PDC and all of that, and then all of a sudden we recalculated and we're good for 100 years. Who knows, right? When it comes to this, Apophis discovered in 2004. The object identified at the time as 2004 MN4, though the team was only able to observe the asteroid for 2 days as a result of technical issues and unfavorable weather. Further observations quickly revealed a wealth of details about the asteroid. In 2005, the asteroid was renamed Apophis after the Greek name for an ancient Egyptian representation of evil, a serpent that dwells in darkness and frequently attempts to devour the sun god Ra as he makes his mighty passage across the sky. In the same year, Apophis received its new moniker. Benzo was part of the team that used reconnaissance telescope observations to measure the color properties of Apophis and determine its composition. The group found that the asteroid resembles most of the common class of meteorites known as ordinary chrondites, which are composed mostly of stone and silicates, S-type. And, they even say his head was made of flint and shit, so it's really crazy that, science now talks about the composition of this thing and how it's, made of stone. You can see right here, they're showing, Apophis' past, or its alleged past, according to them. Who knows? But it comes very close to a lot of the debris around the Earth anyway, so, who knows what that could actually mean. Which, they're now sending, and right here, could 1 million small asteroids be on a collision course with Earth? Chinese researchers say hundreds of thousands of the space objects may be heading our way over the next century. And this is, I'm going to show you in just a second. There's a theory about this too, about the different bolides and these creating catastrophic events. SpaceX almost ready to launch NASA asteroid impact spacecraft. And they prepped the Lucy mission to study Jupiter's Trojan asteroid swarms. And remember, Jupiter has the basically just like Planet X, right? The two wings of asteroids that come off the sides of it, and that's why a lot of people even believe that, Jupiter could be, the whole Planet X shit because of what we see there. And here, let me make this a little bit bigger, but this is it right here. And this is an abstract which was uploaded. It's been known for quite some time that the Mayan calendar endings are related in some manner to anticipated comet impact event, where the Mayan calendar starts in 3114 BC, December 7th, 2012. The 13 Baktun Mayan long count calendar, each Baktun being 144,000 days. The calendar was probably devised by a gifted individual or group of astronomers in the first millennium BC who chose 3114 August 11th as a proleptic Gregorian calendar equivalent or the start date. And how or why the choice was made has been a mystery. The two highest indices in some 6 millennia between 4558 BC and AD 1427 occur within a year or two of the Baktun transitions in the Mayan calendar, namely mean ice dates of 27204 BC or Baktun 1000 or 2719 BC and 1142 BC Baktun 50,000, I think. Mayan long count placement could be explained by a simple mechanism, namely that people witnessing the event around 2720 BC initiated a year count. Their descendants noted a repeat event in 1142 and continued counting years thereafter. It is immediately apparent that the first 3 major post-glacial spikes, and it gives the different dates, and we looked at a new abstract from the tree rings of these different events from the magnetic anomalies, were spaced at, it says 3,089 year intervals. I bet it's probably 389 year intervals, may hint at cosmic origin for these peaks. Has to be noted that 2720 BC peak is 30-40 years after 5760 BC, which means their association with the preceding 3 cannot be ruled out. And the Tolman's depiction of the 7 Earth impacts, and this is Tolman's theory about these different events that have happened, these bolide events. And thus we have to use the name Tolman bolides for this comet meteor cluster because it fits with our anticipated arrival of the B swarm cluster, about 447 to 596 years separate clusters, one from cluster 2. The following offers some background on Tolman's work. Tolman's hypothetical bolide. Alexander Tolman's bolide, proposed by Kristen Tolman and Tolman in 1994, is a hypothesis presented by Austrian geologist Alexander Tolman, suggesting that one or several bolides, asteroids or comets, struck the Earth at 7640 BCE, with a much smaller one in 3150. If true, the hypothesis explains early Holocene extinctions and possibly legends of the universal deluge. They claimed evidence for the event includes stratigraphic studies of tektites, dendrochronology, and ice cores from Camp Century, Greenland, containing hydrochloric and sulfuric acid, indicating an energetic ocean strike, as well as nitric acids caused by extreme heating of the air. And remember, like, even on the back of the 10 and the $100 bills, they show like that what looks like a nuclear cloud hitting New York, and then the tsunami, tidal wave. That would be indicative of an asteroid strike. And even in the Bible, it says, Babylon, like a large millstone thrown into the sea, with that same force, Babylon will be thrown down. And the capital of the UN is New York. So, and you look here, right? All of these different places where they've hit before. So, this would be where a lot of people think that the next one would actually strike to create something like that, in New York, who knows. But the NASA exercise basically put it like around right here, right? The 2021 PDC, they said it would hit right around here, right? So I guess we'll see, right? But the South Atlantic anomaly would put it over in this area, or at least coming from this area, right? So it's not kind of out of the question to see, something that's coming from this direction, maybe from behind the sun or under the ecliptic, to end up striking here or over here. And kind of moving forward, it says, of course, there are still arguments, pros and cons to this thesis. The 7640 BCE evidence is consistent with the dates of the formation and number of salt flats and lakes still found in dry areas of North America and Asia, suggesting that the strikes may have occurred in oceans, causing multiple kilometer-high waves that penetrated deeply into continents and or causing large amounts of seawater to be pushed into orbit and fall down as rain, leaving salt lakes and deserts. And these dry lakes are formed of shallow something. The Center for Ice and Climate, Niels Bohr Institute, University of Copenhagen, offered precise data that suggests there were at least 5 major weather changes about 10,000 years ago. While some of these events may be purely volcanic, this period seemed to be generally related to the bee swarm cluster and complex passage over a 150-year interval. And the Bible kind of shows the same thing too, right? Like Moses commanding the stones to stand still in the sky, and then 50 years later they come down. So we see a lot of that in the timeline too, biblically as well, right? That these, not all of them happened, 300 years apart. Some of them, 191 years apart, 50 years apart after the Exodus with Moses, and then Joshua's long day, right? So this is like a cycle, this is a cycle, and I think we just reached the end of a longer cycle that may have even, been like the 500 years or the more extreme, length of time to put both of these events together. Right, because you can even see here, it's got the Earth tilt and all of that happening at the same time. See, all of these, look, 358, 351, 363, 284. There's no precise measurement to any of them. They're kind of, maybe they're happening to whatever distance, the system is passing. And living near the Agamuk in western Scotland may have seen this event around 10,000 years after. The 11,600-year Swarm A strike cleared the ice crystals from the atmosphere, revealing the starry canopy. They carved an image of a large flat rock. 22 comet-like objects are shown in Figure 2 and are arranged in a line as if a comet had fragmented while passing around the sun, as often occurs. And you can see here, and what happened with Atlas, right? C19, Y1, Y4, right? It fragmented as it passed around the sun. And we've seen a billion other things come off of Atlas. So, you're seeing like similar things from a lot of these things of old that have happened. Even the Chinese telling you, they believe, excuse me, I don't know why I got the yawn so bad. They believe that, we can see thousands of meteors as well. And there is a serious question that how precisely these events can be predicted. Precision dating of comet impacts from the distant past has been demonstrated by certain Bible code results, and that's just run showing you the Bible. The dates are not always right, but sometimes pretty close, like a few days. For example, the fragments of the comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 collided with planet Jupiter over several days, centered at July 19th and 20th, 1994. Michael Drosnin's book, The Bible Code, claims that he predicted the exact date of the collision 2 months before the collision. In interviews with the media, Drosnin had been known to expand the period to a whole year. Drosnin shows that 2 pictures that feature the name of the comet on page 36. There's a portion of Isaiah on the 8th of Av, Jupiter, and a word he translates as will pound through it strictly. Wow. Means crush or mince. The Jewish date 8th of Av in that year began at the sunset of July 15th and ended in the following sunset. However, in Israel, where the book of Isaiah was written, the collision occurred very late in the 16th, making it the 9th of Av. Yeah. Well, who knows with, falling back and all that, the different way they do with time. So maybe we're the ones that are off. Thus, the Mayan calendar end date could not be discounted until it passed, and there are some additional Bible code results presenting impending impact events, Earth impacts from comets and asteroids, suggesting up through 2130, but a specific day is not given. And the reported years in the current time frame seem to range between 06 and 2016. The source of the Bible code is thought to be of alien origin. See the aliens of the Ark. Specifically, they are thought to be the Hans aliens, residents of the Alpha Centauri B star system, and this is non-technological species, often travels with the familiar grays. And another but less accurate estimate of the time arrival could be made of the nominal orbital parameters of the threatening comets and meteors could be made. This could be done by a space of mobile alien species such as the Xenos that have visited Earth in the distant past. And the Xenos astronauts had helped human civilization a lot, but it was not appreciated. Humans put a railroad over something they built. They put artifacts on islands. Now on the seafloor and in Mexico, Peru, and northern England, and near Cairo, Egypt, something was put into or built at Colu, Mexico, where the largest pyramid in the world is located. A total of 28 sites contain Xenos-related artifacts. And notice that the first sites were made in South America. And that's where we see most of the damage taking place now because it's the closest to the equator. And it's proposed that the Xenos astronauts made estimates of when this particular comet swarm would return based on simple celestial mechanics. Though only a rough estimate of the return of the time can be achieved, the comet swarm, they may have started the Mayan calendar at 3114 BC in the AC1 swarm. The class threatens us today as the first component of the B swarm, thus was the first Earth at the time, so the Xenos aliens would have to fly out beyond the known solar system to acquire the data to deduce the relevant orbital parameters. This they could do, and the meteor detection was made with their, And the Aztec and Quetzalcoatl and the Mayan god Gucumatz could just be other names of the Xenos. And like the Sumerian god Enki or the Akkadian Ea, by now it's apparent that the comet or meteor impact has not happened, and it's possible that the Mayan prediction of 2012 impact near December 23rd was possibly what we were being warned of, but such an accurate prediction was unlikely. Most likely it was just a warning that the Earth is in danger of an impending catastrophic event. And, we've already went into this before, with the Gregorian calendar, and you look at the Ethiopian calendar, and 2012 was 2020, you know what I mean? So these type of events and all of this, I think that a lot of this, they've just got their dates really off, and they are predicting some massive catastrophic impact, and we're seeing the evidence that this shit's really close. Just look around you.
News. Yesterday in California, the fire came down and showed its ass. Not only was it burning fiercely in the sky, as you see, and this is the fire that they filmed, so I'm showing you footage from all over California, from Baja all the way around, all the way up to Canada, and somebody even said they spotted it in Chicago. But this fire was burning throughout California. It was rumbling, tumbling, it was shaking our houses and everything else. So now we're going to match the scripture up of what we're seeing in the sky and what's going to happen to the people. People keep thinking they're going to be saved by the sissy with long hair and holes in his hands. You're not going to be saved. A fire devours before God coming, and you need to know the absolute truth so you can set your house in order. With that said, let's get into it. Amos 3:2.
And this wasn't just happening. The rumbling and shit is happening in Arizona and all kinds of shit. I mean, it's people's houses are rumbling from under the ground. So whatever's coming from the sky, and we've all heard, you know, the strange sky sounds. Matter of fact, MB333.
Heard these in a while. They don't come around very often, but when they do, they are super mystifying. A couple of locations out of the United Kingdom and one location out of Oregon. Also in this video, I've got some unique footage sent in by Christy out of Idaho Falls, Idaho. This was something soaring through the sky on the evening of September 20. Locations, and then a location over here in Oregon in the United States of strange sounds that appear to be...
I'll mute this ad real quick. But yeah, so he's not lying about the sounds that are actually accompanying, you know, the fire and the objects that are being seen.
Here we go. That was Andrew, 11:30 at night in Upwell, United Kingdom. I'm going to play that segment again. You can clearly tell he heard something, and it did appear to be coming from outside, possibly up in the sky. It vibrated the windows of his house. I'm going to insert the audio track of this video footage, and it looks like waves. There's definitely something going on in this video that is highly unusual. Check this out. See the waves right there? That's the audio. Bouncing like waves at a beach.
Frequency.
Now, this is another location in the United Kingdom. You might want to watch your speakers, as this one was very loud. In fact, I'll turn it down a little bit. This was sent in by Wendy from the United Kingdom, and all of this footage is fairly recent, within the last week to 10 days. Again, watch your audio, as this one's kind of loud. 6:30 a.m. That was at 6:30 this morning, September 30th of 2021. Wow. If anybody else heard that, please leave a comment down below in the comment section. Once again, that was out of the United Kingdom. Going to Oregon now. That footage was sent in by Logan from Oregon over here in the United States.
And you see, like, people are hearing the frequencies or the vibrations of these things that are actually going hand in hand with what people are seeing in the sky.
The observer showed up and stood there explaining, "Matt, I could see something very small, illuminating like a star or a small planet. It wasn't the moon." Towards the second point of the illumination of the artifacts of being some kind of comet, because it's lighting up towards this area, in particular, noticeable of some kind of artifacts moving through the skies above the Earth's atmosphere, heading into the Earth's atmosphere. Let me continue and show you these different pictures. Just moments later, by taking multiple pictures of the anomaly formation, you can still see the blue skies, but there is some kind of artifacts that is showing up as well. More of this red haze in the background of this object. Indeed, it looks like a planet. But again, the formation is showing up even on other pictures of being blood red. More observations indicate it does indeed look like an asteroid, something beaming downwards as well. Now, we all know as well that our Earth rotates, but indeed as well this object is moving downwards. But noticeable as well, you can just see the cloud systems, but there is some kind of artifacts that is a fiery dragon, something else that is glowing. You can just see the...
A fiery dragon. Yeah. And this is what I mean, man. Like, you can't put all these things together, just by chance. Right? People are hearing and feeling vibrations. If I wanted to, I could pull up another video too where they're in Phoenix, Arizona, and it sounds like a fucking jackhammer. I mean, literally drilling in the ground. You can hear it coming from underneath the ground. So there's vibrations from within the earth. There's vibrations from the sky, frequencies from the sky, and then people are still catching these different depictions in the sky as well. Right, whether it be videos of fiery objects that look like comets, or planets or whatever, and we see this in every study, scientific, from the tree rings, and we look at the sun and its activity, and then you look at the earth and all the chaotic weather, and I mean all of it. It's all going hand in hand, and it looks like someone has pushed the fucking self-destruct button on reality. That's what it looks like. And this thing is a destroyer. This is what's the trigger for all of this.
The same musician is also describing by using his telescope that this was the object a couple of months ago. So we're seeing something again that shows up as a smaller body. Remember folks, back in 2016 when we analysed different pictures of different sized objects and planets, or some characteristics or some phenomena across our horizons, indeed what we are showing up as well here on this very photograph is something that is showing up larger. There's areas of view sight those years back were smaller in size. We would see a red haze and a smaller object, but now we're noticing some kind of planet-sized object. But indeed on the other photograph, it has indeed grown in size.
Yeah. Because it's getting closer. And that's the thing. Anybody that's been doing this for a long period of time, watching this stuff for a long period of time, this went from a tiny little dot out in space when I started all of this, to people thinking there could be a sun simulator, to where we are now, and giant fucking objects next to the sun, and the whole planet going into weather chaos, and the government's locking everybody down and implementing the mark of the beast and all of it. Very crazy.
Up the nose. And what we are seeing here is not a lens flare. It is not some camera flare. This came out of the clouds separately. This is going into the clouds separately. This is the end, and you are witnessing it. If you look very close, you can see that this is way back there in the distance, and the sun is closer. You can see this thing going into the clouds, just like you see the sun going into the clouds. And it's a separate event, and you can plainly see that.
Yeah, so I mean, people can make of it what they want. They can think of it what they want. It's hard to deny, when you look at all that's being presented. I mean, look at all the dust covering the earth. They try to blame this on the Saharan dust plumes. It's just nonsense. You look at the proton X-ray anomalies. You look at the different objects and the solar flares and super flares and geomagnetic storms. I mean, this is the latest CMEs, from the Earth. I mean, this is every day too, right? And it always seems to coincide with something going past the sun, something being caught by the sun. I mean, right here too. Look at that. Right there. I mean, you can see the round fucking objects, literally, right in, whenever these things are taking place. Right? And they're massive. They're massive. And the world is changing with it. And political landscape is changing with it. The spiritual landscape is changing with it. I mean, everything is changing with it. So, I mean, it leads one to the conclusion that, there is a massive change taking place. And what you used to know, they keep talking about things will never, a new normal and all of this. Well, the old world, the old ways that we used to know appear to be dying and gone in a lot of things. And there is a new awareness that is entering our planet. And you can choose to go along with the world view, right? The worldly understanding of all of this, or you can choose to seek the truth and see it from a spiritual perspective. It's truly up to you. But whatever you do, I think it's important to understand that at the end of the day, with every distraction, every story, the only thing that truly matters is where you're at, within your heart, within yourself, and how you treat other people. If you can forgive yourself, you can forgive others. If you can love yourself, you can love others. If you respect yourself, you will respect others. And it's very simple. Everything that you see is a projection of you. So this world can be as damaged and destructive as you want it to be, or you can see the beauty in all of this that's happening. That's also up to you. We have to stop making everything about serving ourselves, and make it about being of service to all those around us, because that's the truest expression of love, is being selfless and sacrificing and charitable in all ways. So I want to thank everybody for joining me. Everybody for watching, whatever platform you're watching on. Please subscribe, follow, give it a thumbs up or hit the like if there's even still likes on the platform you're watching on. Share this link, whatever social media you're on, whatever you're using to watch this, please share it. That's the number one way to help me out and get it out there for other people to see. Tomorrow is the 1st, and we will be doing Best Damn Fam live for those that support the month of October. So that's tomorrow. I'll be doing it at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on the Best Damn Podcast Discord. You can donate support by going to Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, PayPal, Facebook Messenger. All those links are in the description. For everybody that does, thank you. It's greatly appreciated. I haven't been doing a lot of videos here lately, but I've just been doing my own healing and my own soul searching and stuff. So I'm planning to have a busy October though. So I've been trying to get things back in order and get all my platforms straightened out, which I basically have. So now I'm just ready to get back to making content, and that's kind of what I enjoy doing the most. So and tomorrow, gosh, man, I've got some disturbing shit to show. So if you do, support and all that, and you catch it tomorrow, geez, viewer discretion is advised, because some of the things that I can't talk about publicly anymore. I mean, we live in a crazy, crazy world. That's all I can say. So hopefully you guys check it out. And join me tomorrow for the Best Damn Fam Live. And you can get access to, because I have made all of them private and all that stuff now. I've got all that back to where it was. And if you're a YouTube member, Facebook subscription, all that, I'll be posting the links to that there as well as on Patreon. And if you support through PayPal or Venmo, text 513-393-2396 or email therealbestdampodcast@gmail.com, and you can get those links. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Follow me on Instagram, Best Damn Podcast, Twitter, The Real Best Damn. And I thank you guys for all that you do. And I appreciate all of you guys. So I hope everybody's, feeling blessed and loved. And you guys know that, for real, it is about coming together, man. We got to come together, like, now more than ever. It's not so much about waking people up. If people seek, they'll find. It's more about us, finding that unity within us, right? Because the technology and all that shit, it's not always going to be around for us to have. So we have to really start getting to know one another on a different level outside of the internet and the open groups and all that, more of a one-on-one thing. So I hope people will seek that, and I hope people will, see the value in that, because it's very, very important. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. And remember, Jesus is the truth, the way, and life. God bless you all. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful week. Peace.
An illusion it will be. So large, so vast, it will escape their perception. Those who will see it will be thought of as insane. We will create separate fronts to prevent them from seeing the connection between us. We will behave as if we are not connected, to keep the illusion alive. Our goal will be accomplished one drop at a time, so as to never bring suspicion upon ourselves. This will also prevent them from seeing the changes as they occur. We will always stand above the relative field of their experience, for we know the secrets of the Absolute. We will work together always, and will remain bound by blood and secrecy. Death will come to he who speaks. We will keep their lifespan short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways, so they will never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators and sedatives in food and water, also in the air. They will be blanketed by poisons everywhere they turn. The soft metals will cause them to lose their minds. We will promise to find a cure from our many fronts, yet we will feed them more poison. The poisons will be absorbed through their skin and mouths. They will destroy their minds and reproductive systems. For all this, their children will be born dead, and we will conceal this information. The poisons will be hidden in everything that surrounds them, in what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. We must be ingenious in dispensing the poisons, for they can see far. We will teach them that the poisons are good, with fun images and musical tones. Those they look up to will help. We will enlist them to push our poisons. They will see our products being used in film and will grow accustomed to them, and will never know their true effect. When they give birth, we will inject poisons into the blood of their children and convince them it's for their health. We will start early on, when their minds are young. We will target their children with what children love most: sweet things. When their teeth decay, we will fill them with metals that will kill their mind and steal their future. When their ability to learn has been affected, we will create medicine that will make them sicker and cause other diseases, for which we will create yet more medicine. We will render them docile and weak before us by our power. They will grow depressed, slow, and obese. And when they come to us for help, we will give them more poison. We will focus their attention toward money and material goods, so they may never connect with their inner self. We will distract them with fornication, external pleasures, and games, so they may never be the one with the oneness of it all. Their minds will belong to us, and they will do as we say. If they refuse, we will find ways to implement mind-altering technology into their lives. We will use fear as our weapon. We will establish their governments and establish opposites within. We will own both sides. We will always hide our objective, but carry out our plan. They will perform the labor for us, and we shall prosper from their toil. Our families will never mix with theirs. Our blood must be pure always, for it is the way. We will make them kill each other when it suits us. We will keep them separated from the oneness by dogma and religion. We will control all aspects of their lives and tell them what to think and how. We will guide them kindly and gently, letting them think they are guiding themselves. We will foment animosity between them through our factions. When a light shall shine among them, we shall extinguish it by ridicule or death, whichever suits us best. We will make them rip each other's hearts apart and kill their own children. We will accomplish this by using hate as our ally, anger as our friend. The hate will blind them totally, and never shall they see that from their conflicts we emerge as their rulers. They will be busy killing each other. They will bathe in their own blood and kill their neighbors for as long as we see fit. We will benefit greatly from this, for they will not see us, for they cannot see us. We will continue to prosper from their wars and their death. We shall repeat this over and over until our ultimate goal is accomplished. We will continue to make them live in fear and anger through images and sounds. We will use all the tools we have to accomplish this. The tools will be provided by their labor. We will make them hate themselves and their neighbors. We will always hide the divine truth from them, that we are all one. This they must never know. They must never know that color is an illusion. They must always think they are not equal. Drop by drop, drop by drop, we will advance our goal. We will take over their land, resources, and wealth to exercise total control over them. We will deceive them into accepting laws that will steal the little freedom they will have. We will establish a money system that will imprison them forever, keeping them and their children in debt. When they shall band together, we shall accuse them of crimes and present a different story to the world, for we shall own all the media. We will use our media to control the flow of information and their sentiment in our favor. When they shall rise up against us, we will crush them like insects, for they are less than that. They will be helpless to do anything, for they will have no weapons. We will recruit some of their own to carry out our plans. We will promise them eternal life. But eternal life they will never have, for they are not us. The recruits will be called initiates, and will be indoctrinated to believe false rites of passage to higher realms. Members of these groups will think they are one with us, never knowing the truth. They must never learn this truth, for they will turn against us. For their work, they will be rewarded with earthly things and great titles. But never will they become immortal and join us. Never will they receive the light and travel the stars. They will never reach the higher realms, for the killing of their own kind will prevent passage to the realm of enlightenment. This they will never know. The truth will be hidden in their face, so close they will not be able to focus on it until it is too late. Oh yes, so grand the illusion of freedom will be that they will never know that they are our slaves. When all is in place, the reality we will have created for them will own them. This reality will be their prison. They will live in self-delusion. When our goal is accomplished, a new era of domination will begin. Their minds will be bound by their beliefs, the beliefs we have established from time immemorial. But if they ever find out they are our equal, we shall perish then. This they must never know. If they ever find out that together they can vanquish us, they will take action. They must never, ever find out what we have done. For if they do, we shall have no place to run, for it will be easy to see who we are once the veil has fallen. Our actions will have revealed who we are, and they will hunt us down, and no person shall give us shelter. This is the secret covenant by which we shall live the rest of our present and future lives. For this reality will transcend many generations and lifespans. This covenant is sealed in blood. Our blood. We, the ones who from heaven to earth came.
Baby, I got good blow. Fuck her, then I vanish. Disappear like magic. I live lavish. Gucci sheets all on my mattress. Golf boy, click, skirt, skirt in a black whip. Pull it down her skirt. I know you want it, you can have it. Welcome to my castle. It's just me and you tonight. I think you're an angel, just a human in disguise. This is not rap, it's a golf lullaby. I'll be in your dreams every time that we get high. Lie, 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 all you ever do is lie. Look me in my eyes like the stars in the sky. Grew up in the mud in a castle, I'ma die. Grew up in the mud in a castle, I'ma die. Watch me fall, watch me fall.